In the Bible, several angels are involved in acts of divine judgment that result in death. But one of the most well-known instances is the angel of the Lord carrying out mass death as an agent of God's will. Here are a few major examples. The angel of death in Egypt, Exodus 12:29. During the final plague in Egypt, God sends an angel, referred to as the destroyer in Exodus 12:23, to kill all the firstborn in Egypt. At midnight, the Lord struck down all the firstborn in Egypt. This angel is often called the angel of death, though the exact title isn't used in the text. The story of the angel who struck down the enemies of God, specifically the Assyrian army during King Hezekiah's reign, and explaining why it happened. The story draws mainly from 2 Kings 18-19, Isaiah 36-37, and 2 Chronicles 32. The angel that killed 185,000 Assyrians, Kings 19:35/Isaiah 37:36. An angel of the Lord struck down a massive Assyrian army, threatening Jerusalem under King Hezekiah. That night, the angel of the Lord went out and put to death 185,000 in the Assyrian camp. The angel of the Lord in King David's census, Samuel 24:15-17/1, Chronicles 21:14-15. After David sins by taking a census, God sends an angel to bring a plague. The Lord sent a plague on Israel, and 70,000 men died. The angel is about to destroy Jerusalem when God relents and the angel stops. In all these cases, the angel is acting on God's direct command. The Bible doesn't name a specific angel of death, though some traditions, especially in apocryphal texts and other religious literature, refer to one, often calling him Azrael, but that name is not found in the canonical Bible. The angel of the Lord in the fall of the Assyrians. The night was quiet over Jerusalem, but the silence was heavy, not peaceful, tense. King Hezekiah stood on the palace rooftop, cloaked in the faint glow of moonlight, his eyes cast toward the north. Beyond the city walls, across the valleys and hills, hundreds of thousands of Assyrian soldiers encamped like a vast sea of death. Their torches flickered in the dark, and the sound of marching, shouting, and armor clashing had only just faded. For weeks, their voices had risen like taunts against heaven itself. Hezekiah remembered the words of the Assyrian king's envoy, Rabshakeh, who had stood boldly before the walls of Jerusalem and mocked both Israel and Israel's God. "Do not let your God in whom you trust deceive you," Rabshakeh had shouted. "No God of any nation has ever delivered his people from the hand of the king of Assyria. What makes you think your God will save you?" Hezekiah had torn his robes that day and gone straight to the house of the Lord. He had sent messengers to the prophet Isaiah, and together they cried out to God. The situation was desperate. The Assyrian Empire had swallowed up city after city, nation after nation. Israel to the north had already fallen. Now Jerusalem was next. But Hezekiah had done something few kings had the courage to do in the face of overwhelming power. He trusted in the Lord. He spread the threatening letter from the Assyrian king before God in the temple and prayed, "O Lord, the God of Israel, enthroned between the cherubim, you alone are God over all the kingdoms of the earth. You made heaven and earth. Now, Lord our God, deliver us from his hand, so that all the kingdoms of the earth may know that you alone, Lord, are God." And the Lord heard. That very night, as darkness pressed heavily over the land and the Assyrian army slumbered in confidence, the angel of the Lord descended. No trumpet blasted, no lightning split the skies. There was no noise, only stillness. Silent and swift as judgment itself, the angel moved through the Assyrian camp. An invisible force, yet irresistible, the very breath of the Lord. One by one, soldiers ceased breathing. Mighty warriors, renowned archers, commanders and footmen, none awoke again. They lay in their tents, lifeless, as if death had stolen through like a mist. By dawn, 185,000 were dead. When the remaining soldiers awoke and saw the devastation, terror gripped them. The army that had mocked the God of Israel had been shattered without a sword being drawn. The tents stood, the weapons untouched, but the men, the heart of the Assyrian power, had fallen. Sennacherib, king of Assyria, fled back to Nineveh in disgrace, never to return to Jerusalem. He who had defied the living God met his own end not in glory but in shame. Years later, while worshiping in the temple of his idol god Nisroch, two of his own sons rose against him and killed him with the sword. Jerusalem was spared not because of its strength, but because of its faith. Why did the angel kill? This was not merely an act of violence, it was divine justice. The Assyrian Empire had grown arrogant and cruel. Their kings boasted in conquest, desecrated holy places, and enslaved nations. They exalted themselves above all gods, including the Lord of hosts. God had used Assyria in earlier times as an instrument of judgment, particularly against the unfaithful northern kingdom of Israel. But Assyria had gone too far. Their pride had made them blind. They thought themselves above judgment, even above God. Isaiah had prophesied about this moment, saying, "When the Lord has finished all his work against Mount Zion and Jerusalem, he will say, I will punish the king of Assyria for the willful pride of his heart and the haughty look in his eyes." Isaiah 10:12. The angel's mission was not random. It was not cruel. It was precise, purposeful, and righteous. God was defending his name, his covenant, and his people, the angel's identity. The Bible refers to this figure as the angel of the Lord. This is not just any messenger. This angel appears at several key moments in Scripture, often bringing both mercy and judgment. This same angel appeared to Moses in the burning bush, led Israel through the wilderness, and stood in Balaam's path with a drawn sword. But when he strikes, it is not by his own will. It is by God's command. The angel of the Lord is not a rogue agent, but a divine instrument, carrying out God's justice swiftly and without error. Hezekiah's legacy. In the aftermath, Hezekiah's trust in God became legendary. Scripture says, he trusted in the Lord, the God of Israel. There was no one like him among all the kings of Judah, either before him or after him. 2 Kings 18:5. He did not win the battle by strategy or alliance. He won by faith. And God responded by sending one angel, just one, to deliver his people and declare his glory to the nations. The lesson. Today, this story isn't just ancient history. It's a declaration that God defends those who trust him. He opposes the proud and exalts the humble. Nations may rise, kings may boast, but the Lord is sovereign over all. When enemies rise against God's people, when the odds seem insurmountable, and when human strength fails, God is still mighty to save. And sometimes all it takes is one angel,